as Jacob is still wrestling with the same angels today. And you can read that for yourself and try to get a comprehension. Genesis chapter 32. Just read the whole chapter. And since that is the case, then the knowledge is lost of all people of this subject, of this cipher. And that causes the knowledge of the whole planet to become empty and in darkness. That is the very same spirit of while he walked in the darkness in chapter 1 and verse 2 of Genesis. And that means it's happening today in the last days. The very same thing is happening. The earth is still in darkness. But it was also promised that the whole earth shall be full of the knowledge of Yahweh. And that's what it says in Isaiah chapter 11. And right away you thought that promise of Yahweh of this earth being full of knowledge, you thought that was for all nations to be full of knowledge. Well, I have some bad news for you. Only the earth will be full of knowledge, not the other nations. So you must come up to the knowledge of what the earth is. And since you do not know, we want to give you a heads up, and we want you to turn to the book called Isaiah, chapter 11. Turn to Isaiah chapter 11. And let's bring to your attention something that begins in chapter 11 of Isaiah, verse 8. Let's give you an idea of what this knowledge is and where it will come from. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 8, and it reads, and I quote, "And the sucking child shall play on the whole of the apps." The sucking child shall play on the whole of the apps. What does that mean? You don't know. All the clergies throughout history, the theologians of the world, they don't know. They didn't know. The seals. So I'm here today to loose the seal. I'm here today to disclose, to reveal that this sucking child was created by the Hebrew word known as yanak. Yanak. And it means to give suck to, like a newborn baby, and to nurse, like a newborn baby. And you can find this in the Strong's Concordance. The reference H3243. But still, that's all you know of the word, to give suck and to nurse. But you don't know which child. You don't know which sucking child shall play on the whole of the apps. And they have whole, H-O-L-E. They left off the W. How can a sucking child play on the whole of the apps? So what's the apps? You don't know what the apps is, but the apps is like the leaven of the heaven. They left off the W of the wall because the wall was then given by this time, was given to Cain to be walking on the earth, up and down in the earth, to and fro. The wall is missing. The W is missing off of H-O-L-E. Should be whole. The whole is leaven of the heaven. Like a woman was given 3 measures of meal. But this sucking child from that woman that hid this leaven and 3 measures of meal became the first ripe fruit, this child who was sucking. The first ripe fruit of Micah chapter 7 and verse 1. My soul hid it and put it right there in the scrolls. It was hidden as the first ripe fruit. The sucking child. And what the sucking child is sucking on are 2 paps. The sucking child is sucking on 2 paps that are attached to the chest of one like unto the Son of Man, that's now sitting right in the midst of 7 candlesticks. Mem, Yud, Kaf, Yud, Wav, He. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Each candlestick is a day of a week. 7 of the sun. The sunlight, candlestick, 7. And right in the middle of the 7 candlesticks is Wednesday. And that's the day we hold our Wednesday's first edition of our telestudy. You ask you to join us, but you don't. You do not, because you don't know. You're in a deep sleep. And that 7 falls right in the middle of the week. That's middle, that paps the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the Gregorian calendar. Wednesday sits right in the middle, from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And this sucking and this nursing, these paps, is what this man, this woman, or this man, one like unto the Son of Man, is feeding the child of a whole, right by the apps. Either way you look at it, it sits right in the middle of this day, either from Monday or Sunday, doesn't matter. But why is this man likened to, one likened to the Son of Man? It's coming from Revelation, in case you didn't figure it out by now. It's coming from Revelation chapter 1, verse 13. 13 created by Mem. This man, this one likened to the Son of Man, is feeding this sucking child with his paps, with a golden girdle. And this girdle is girded up. This girdle is gold. It means it's brilliant. It's a brilliant, firm knowledge. Firm from celestial lodge, from the potentate himself, that many only know is Yahweh ben Yahweh, the potentate's potentate, the blessed and only potentate, Ma'ah, Yudid Wavhe. And that's where the paps of this golden girdle is found on the chest of this man as he's feeding this child who's sucking on the knowledge, to know. The root word of knowledge is to know, and the ledge, round the ledge, the ledge of knowledge, the edge of the end of the world, the end, as this child will come and suck. And this paps is being fused with 7 pipes from those 7 lamps. You can find in Zechariah chapter 4 and verse 2. 7 lamps and 7 pipes of 7 lamps. You see 2 paps, but these are also 7 pipes, and they're being fed from heaven to my mind, like it is right now in your face. And the reason why this is one likened to the Son of Man is because this one, when the child begins to suck, which is Judah, then this one man will then take on the duties of a woman, like a woman, a man with a womb, a man with paps, 2 paps of the chest that you know as breasts, like the one in the garden that was made from the man. Remember? This man then becomes versatile, like the sun-clad woman of Revelation chapter 12, which means that this one likened to the Son of Man is also able to adapt or become adapted to many different functions and activities and responsibilities of her child, Judah and Jacob. That's why it's 2 paps, one for Judah and one for Jacob, one for Israel and one for Yaakov, one for Yishra Yahweh and one for Yehuda Yahweh. 2 paps of a golden girdle, like taking on a new job. And he will also take on 2 functions and the activities and the responsibility of a mother and a father. He'll become an aim and an R, a mother and a father, which then becomes empowered with a golden girdle. And this golden girdle becomes the power of the very spirit of Yudawavhe that was created by 4 Hebrew characters, known from right to left as Zion, Wab, Resh. Aleph, Zion, Wab, and Resh. Aleph, Zion, Wab, and Resh. 4 Hebrew characters, the foundation. And that creates the Hebrew word known as Azar. Azar. You can find this in your Strong's Concordance and the reference H3, action 232, H232. Go to your concordance and look for it. Azor. Azor. And that's, again, spelled from right to left. Aleph, Zion, Wab, Resh. That's the golden girdle. It means, here's what it means. It means of Yudawavhe's power over kings and of faithfulness. And that's what I'm feeding the children. Both Yehuda Yahweh and Yishra Yahweh. I'm feeding Judah and I'm feeding Israel. I'm feeding them the power over it to be kings and of their faithfulness, to be faithful. And this word was also used sometimes as a metaphor. Nevertheless, this one likened to the Son of Man of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 13, if you want to write it down and read it, all of a sudden started taking on the activities of a woman. We're still in Isaiah now, chapter 11, verse 8. But Zohar was used figuratively also to be ciphered today. We left it to be ciphered for the English-speaking people of all nations to be known to them as girdle. And you know that a woman, you wears a girdle to keep her midsection firm. It's tight, stomach firm, tight. That means this knowledge will be firm and tight, given to the babe, the child sucking on these paps. Nonetheless, in order to protect this child, this sucking child, from the serpent and his devils, this woman hid the sucking child, who is now being revealed and identified as Judah, into 3 measures that then became 3 measures of barley that I hid in Revelation chapter 6, verse 6, and sealed it. Go to it and read it on your own. Revelation chapter 6, verse 6. It became 3 measures of meal, of barley. Of barley, as you know, also became meal. See, this barley is used as a metaphor to then become 3 measures of meal, to hide the secret of the kingdom of heaven in a parable that my soul created. A parable, as I use meal opposed to barley. 3 measures. To keep it at bay, to keep Satan at bay, so he would not harm or hurt the oil and the wine. Revelation chapter 6, verse 6. And I hid the parable with using the power of El, the letter, the uppercase L, or Lamed, and the Hey, the H, and the Wad, or the Mem, and the Wad, that was taken off of whole, H-O-L-E. I also use Mem, M. Now you can go to that and read in Matthew chapter 13. In fact, you should put a marker here. Put a marker here in Isaiah chapter 11. Just put a marker in Isaiah chapter 11. Go to Matthew chapter 13 for a moment. See 13? That's Mem again. 13. And 33, the book called Micah is found right in the middle of the Bible. The book called Micah, M-I-C-H, found right in the middle of the Bible, book number 33, right in the middle of 66. So here we have Matthew chapter 13, Mem, and you have 33 right in the midst of all the books. And it reads, where the parable is hidden. As I quote, another parable spake he unto them, I am that he. The kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, till the whole was leavened, end quote. And now I'm revealing it from Isaiah chapter 11, verse 8. The whole that's missing, the double is missing from the whole, and what the child is sucking now, the paps. And the leaven is the heaven. The L, the Lamed, I replaced the L with the H. The meal is the double I-L, the double L. As Ma'od introduced this parable to those who were around him back in the days, in the late 1980s, the mid to late 1980s, he just introduced this to you back then. You who are listening and know who I'm speaking of. He was rising you out of your grave so you can be aware of what's going to happen today. He rose you out of your graves as the yeast. That's why he's yellow. He was yellow skin complexion. He came in a yellow skin body. And by doing so, he identified himself to them as the yeast that makes this leaven makes this leaven to rise, which is today of the heaven and the leaven of those who are sucking. And he had to do that in order for you to rise. He also made it clear to those back then that the yeast is yellow, and so is the meal. And that he came in a yellow skin complexion so he could judge all nations of earth, both black and white skin complexion nations. And that leaves yellow as being non-prejudice. Non-prejudice. That's what I mean, he was a prejudice. He came to judge both nations, black and white, all nations. And that's why he gave me the bronze skin complexion, so I could judge Judah. Judah is now yellow to black, not yellow to white. He did that. I'm judging Judah, who's yellow to black skin, dark, light skin to dark skin. You can confirm that in Micah chapter 3, verse 8. I'm full of power by the Spirit of you out there to judge Israel and Judah. See, Israel is light skinned. Go to the Middle East and look. And Judah's black. That's why I'm bronze, right in the middle. And still, Yahweh only came to rise his own children to save Israel only, although he judged all nations. Each way Yahweh came to save. In other words, Mount Ob, Yahweh never told the earth where this particular woman took this leaven. It's the same woman who hid the 3 measures of meal. I am that woman, and I hid it. I hid it in meal, and I hid it in meal. I hid it in M-I-L-L, I hid it in M-E-A-L, I hid it with the L, I hid it with the H, I hid it with the M. I had the E-L. I found 2 women. In other words, these women, this woman hid this meal by a certain meal, M-I-L-L. That's with the double L and not the M-E-A-L, with only 1 L. And I gave 2 women each an L, L and L, and of their own. Each woman I gave an L of their own. It couldn't be the meal M-E-A-L, there's only 1 L. I gave them the M-I-L-L at the meal that he thought was a meal. And each L is Judah and Jacob. And then I gave one more woman an H. You never knew who that woman was. And that became a measure of wheat. I hid her in Revelation chapter 5, chapter 6, and verse 5. I never said how much of a measure it either. Again, I hid that woman, the 3rd woman, in Revelation chapter 6, verse 5. Never did say how much the measure was. I said a measure of wheat. All they thought, the theologians, they thought that was 1. That's all they knew, a measure. But a 3rd measure of barley became those who will be the 3rd part to come through the fire of this hot fire that's coming, according to Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8 and 9. This body hits the fire. When this body hits the fire, they're going to come through it. In the meantime, these 2 women are now grinding at the mill, M-I-L-L. They are now doing it. You can turn to that in Matthew chapter 24, and you can see it. I wrote Matthew chapter 24. It's my soul wrote it. The whole book called Matthew, I wrote it. Go to Matthew chapter 24 and look at verse 41 to see these 2 women, who they are today. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 41 says, and I quote, 2 women shall be grinding at the mill. The one shall be taken and the other left. End quote. Now right away you think that's the 2 women that were taken. And see, that's another metaphor. It's a parable. It tells you that from verse 32, the fig tree. I'm also the fig tree, with another fig parable. Notice that this verse did not mention who or what would be taken or should be taken. It didn't mention who or what should be taken. There's a semicolon that has nothing to do with what's about to follow. That means that the world thought, because this prophetic cryptogram begins with 2 women, that it was the women that were taken. Not so. The world forgot of the semicolon that was placed there for a reason. After the noun mill, M-I-L-L, that means that by the time I return in another body of my soul and find these words in English that was originally written in Hebrew, then my soul, my very soul in another body will be able, and will tell you and reveal to the planet, I will be here with these 2 women that I took and hid in 3 measures of meal until I return, that will be scattered after slavery and bondage. And then, as they be taken away from the other 10 tribes of the Middle East today, where they are. And then I hid these 2 by the parable of 2 women who was grinding the hollow minds of thoughts. And I took the M away from meal, M-E-A-L, but their minds were being grinded by the serpent, the devil, and they were grinding. And I took the M from H, from the meal, and I took the H from heaven to now place the H of heaven back in front of the E-A-L to create the word heal, H-E-A-L, as I heal their mind full of knowledge to know. So I've taken the M away from meal, and I took the H from heaven, and I'm now putting the H in front of the E-A-L to create a heal. Now you're in a healing process. I'm healing your mind today. That way I will now heal the minds of those who were at the mill, grinding away at this dust of the earth. And furthermore, for all those who wishes to stay at this mill, grinding, you wish to stay after you see this video, then you can stay. You can stay, but I'm going to take away the M. I've taken away the M. And as you want to stay there with the mill, as the M is taken away, then you stay there with your ill-minded self. You'll be an ill-minded person without the M. Praise you, Yahweh. That's all I got to say.